Hello, welcome to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Standard Open in Richmond, part of the SCG Tour, brought to you by Ultimate Guard. I'm Nick Miller alongside Andrew Frank. How you doing, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Now, you're a breath of fresh air in this format. We've been seeing a lot of black-green, and we've been seeing a lot of Saheeli decks.
Yep.
You say no, sir. We're playing mono-red,
Yep.
25 mountains.
25 lands, 19 mountains.
All right.
So
That is a lot of mountains.
yes.
So we're playing mono-red aggro here, if you haven't caught on yet. You're playing a ton of creatures with menace.
Yes.
And a ton of creatures that people are going to have to read today.
Yes. Yep.
So we'll go along through the hits. You got your 1-drops of Falconwrath Gorger, which really never has seen a lot of play for being a 2/1 for 1, alongside Insolent Neonate as your 1-drops.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, the Gorger is there just to give me more aggressive start, but the Neonate with Menace, they're not going to block it for the first few turns.
Right, and it kind of dogpiles with all of the other creatures you have with Menace. So
Correct.
you can easily curve Neonate into Karazev, so we finally get to see her, and the legendary monkey coming into the action, along with Sin Prodder, a card that got some speculation when it was spoiled, but never really got any play. You're here pairing it with the other red Menace creatures.
Yep. Yeah, it makes combat incredibly awkward for my opponent, and especially like the black-green deck is generally playing like one creature a turn. So with removal, you know, if I can kill it, I essentially have unblockable creatures, or difficult to block creatures.
Yeah, you just have a streamline of creatures that are going to be tough to block because you have a bunch of removal in this deck too, you know?
Yep.
Along with your other 3-drop that we'll mention before we go on, Hammer Garrison.
Yeah.
And you have the counterpart land going along here. So you got the Battlefronts, and you have transformed the combination twice.
Yep, twice today.
I'm going to assume you won those games.
Yep. Yeah, well, one game was against Caleb Shear earlier, and he responded to my attack with a Elder Deep Fiend, so he won that game.
Okay.
But generally, when I meld it, I win.
It's 7/4 trample, getting some 3/2s.
Yep. Yeah, it's so much power so quickly. They can't really deal with it.
All right, now you have all the red removal spells. You got Shock, Harness Lightning, and Incendiary Flow to kind of complement what you're doing here at the early curve. Then you have a lot of lands in this deck, so you get to go up to some bigger creatures. Here's one. I don't know if anyone is registered for standard play yet. The Skyship Stalker. This kind of build your own dragon.
Yeah, it's build your own Stormbreath Dragon. You know, you can. It's a great mana sink. You can play it on 4 just as a 3/3 flyer. You can pump it. It gets first strike, so I've been eating demons all day. You know, just hold back on defense, pump it twice, give it first strike. And green-black doesn't have a whole lot of reach or flyers outside of the demon. So you can eat a planeswalker, you can just, you know, run a lot of lands, you can dump a ton of mana into it and just turn it into a huge, again, mostly unblockable creature.
Right, and this kind of goes into your Menace game plan as well.
Correct.
Another hard to block threat,
Yep.
which really makes your removal very good when all your creatures are basically unblockable.
Definitely, yep.
And you've got the goblins here at the top end, Dark Dwellers bringing back some removal spells, and then Chandra in the main deck as well. Just kind of more removal, I imagine?
More removal. You can sometimes play Chandra, plus it, play Incendiary Flow, or Harness Lightning. I've won a few games today off for Ultimate because, you know, they got to hold their creatures back to block my Menace creatures, and or kill them and tap out and not play their own creatures. So it's just another win condition, just trying to make it awkward for my opponent.
Okay. All right, let's bust out the sideboard. You got it over here.
Yep.
We got a bunch of good stuff. We have more removal spells, as you mentioned, and you have your kind of complementary extra Falconwrath Gorgers here when you need to just be lower to the ground.
Whenever I want to get more aggressive, I'll board them in. And like you said, just a lot more removal. Got 2 Lightning Axes, 2 Collective Defiance, 3 Devour in Flames, which has been a great card. It deals with Demon, anything with 5 toughness or less, but it also deals with planeswalkers, which can be difficult for red to deal with. I don't want to spend burn spells on that could go to the face on a planeswalker. So this is a great rate, 3 mana, deal 5. I can kill Gideon, Nissa, Liliana, you know, does a lot of work. There's a 4th Harness Lightning, 2 Flame Lash.
We got to talk about this one here too. Release the Gremlins in a pair. So you're really going after the artifact decks like Colossus and things like that.
Yeah, and it's also pretty good against green-black when they have, you know, Ballista, and then they play Gear Hulk. You know, for 5 mana you can get rid of both of them and get 2 2/2s. Because otherwise it's a little difficult to deal with like a 8-power Gear Hulk. So, just trying to again, provide diverse threats and diverse answers.
Yeah, you seem to have the bases covered of the popular decks. You know, we saw in week 1. You know, this deck looks like it's going to have great matchups against, you know, Saheeli and green-black because you have ways to pressure the planeswalkers and you have instant speed interaction.
Yep. Yeah, I've played against green-black 4 times today and won all 4 times. And I've played against Saheeli twice and won one of them. The other one was a loss to Caleb. But yeah, it feels very good. You have to play very tight with it. You know, all of your decisions are critical because if they get ahead of you, it can be difficult to come back. But if you can put pressure on the early game, and then even if they start answering it, like I said, ultimated Chandra, sometimes I just had to burn them out. Or, you know, I one time attacked with everything, which was a horrible attack. Almost everything died, but to get just enough in to put them in shock range, and the next turn flipped over shock and win. So
right, you're one of the few decks in this format that has reach. So you know, a lot of people aren't keeping track of their life total or not really worrying about that. This deck really pressures the life total, and you have a bunch of reach.
Definitely, and Sin Prodder is another one that can act as draw or pressure the life total. I've had opponents where they're at 4, I flip over Chandra, and they're like, take it or I'll die, and you know, you can get ahead that way.
So you're 5-2 after 7 rounds. Any cards you're kind of looking to switch up, or are you kind of happy with everything right now?
For the most part, I'm happy. I think the sideboard could use a little more work, but overall, I'm happy with it. Like I have Destructive Tampering in here to try to break through a stalled board, but I haven't played it yet today. I'd say overall, I'm happy with the deck.
All right. Well, if you're happy, I'm happy. It's a sweet mono-red aggressive deck. Hope to try to get you on camera so we can see it in action. Andrew, thanks for joining me here in the sideboard. Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Richmond.